Okay. Ginger is perfect to keep in the freezer. All you have to do is snap off what you're using and then put the whole rest of the knobby looking thing into the freezer and take it out when you're ready to use it again. It freezes beautifully. So we're going to do in our egg rolls, like I said, 3/4 of a pound of ground meat, ground pork. I have used ground chicken and ground turkey before. I wouldn't use ground beef, but ground chicken and ground turkey absolutely work. They just don't have quite as much moisture as the pork, so I would add a little bit more oil to the pan. Okay, but ground pork is the traditional filling for this Asian style dish. So almost to the home stretch with my filling and my ginger. All right, all that off. Anytime you peel ginger like this and you want to like ginger tea or something, you can use these in ginger tea and just strain them out later. They do have some flavor. Get my knife. And I'm just going to mince this up very carefully. I already have my extra board out because we're going to chop our chicken. And I wanted to chop it on my other board so I didn't have to wash. So I'm going to go ahead and get my ginger going. And when you're doing ginger, if you don't feel comfortable chopping it, you can always grate it. I think I saw my grater right here. That's what I believe I'm going to do for this. So you see you've got the finer side of the grater. That's perfect for this. Okay, I'll show you which one I'm talking about. This right here. That's the one I like to use for my ginger. Just watch your fingers. When you get down to the nub, you might want to go ahead and do a little bit of chop on the nub of the ginger. We're going to get most of this just grated right down. Once you see how easy this is, you're going to love doing it at home. And when we did pot stickers a while back, if you want to go back and watch that, the wrappers are exactly the same. The pot stickers are just smaller. So if you have a bunch of extra egg roll wrappers and you think, hey, we could do pot stickers too, you absolutely can. You just cut them into fourths and you can turn the egg roll wrappers into pot sticker wrappers. Okay? Hey, Abby. We're grating a little bit of ginger and we have 3/4 of a pound of pork on the stove getting sauteed up, okay? All right, so our ginger is all grated. Okay, I'm gonna take my little nub, like I said, I'm gonna chop him up. We're gonna use a teaspoon of ginger in our mixture, and then I'm gonna hold out just a tiny little 1/4 of a teaspoon to go into our dipping sauce. Because who can have an egg roll without the dipping sauce? I mean, it's the highlight, right? So my ginger's ready. A little bit to the side for my dipping sauce. And we'll go ahead and put it in the bowl I've got. Daddy's been home all day today, so I had a little extra time to set up and get ready, and it's been wonderful. Abby, I just told Aiden that I got to lay out in the sun this morning, and the next thing I know, I turn around and it's a downpour. Welcome to Alabama. Okay, now that there is action going in my pan, I need to break up my meat a little bit. There's a lot of grated ginger on the outside of this, so we don't want to waste that. Get all of that in there. Thank you. Okay. And we are using the holy trinity of Chinese cooking today in our dish. We're using the scallions or green onions, however you like to say it, garlic, and ginger. I was telling Aiden too, Abby, that if you want to use ground turkey or chicken in your egg roll, you can. It just has a little less fat, so you would need to add a little bit more oil when you're sauteing it up so it's not as dry, okay? That's looking good. The first time I ever made egg rolls at home and pot stickers at home, Asian was something that took me a little while to tweak and get right. I didn't get it straight out of the gate. So I would make pot stickers the same way I make egg rolls, and I would cook the meat before I would do the dumplings. Well, that's not the way you do pot stickers. Pot stickers, you start with raw meat, and then that meat is small enough that it cooks while the pot sticker itself is cooking. But in the egg roll realm, where it's very similar filling with the addition of cabbage, you cook your meat first because the egg roll is a fried item and it doesn't have time in the fryer to cook the meat. You're just frying the outside wrapper. Okay, that looks really good. We just have a little tiny bit of salt and pepper on our meat just to start building our flavors, and that's going good. Now, we're also going to put in some green onions. So I'm going to need this again for my dipping sauce and for my filling. So I'm going to use 2 scallions, and I'm going to put most of them in. I'm going to put 1/4 of a cup of scallions in the filling, and then keep just a few, about a tablespoon or so out for my dip sauce. So we're going to just go through rocking like the motion of the ocean. I almost washed my hair this morning like I normally do before class, and then I thought, I'm frying today and we have church tonight. I think I'll put myself a little ponytail in and wash it later. Oh, but I'm so thankful for the warm weather. I've got the door wide open, so it won't be bad. Okay, so got our scallions chopped, and then my garlic. I feel like this is brand new. I didn't remember to take that off. So this is all I have to do to get my garlic ready. Take off this little peeling protective layer. Okay, so I'm going to go in my pan now that I have brown meat here. I'm going to go in my pan with my teaspoon of ginger and my 1/4 of a cup of scallions. Like I said, I'm going to leave about a tablespoon for my dip sauce. I love a good Asian dipping sauce. And if I get a little bit of pot stickers or egg roll, and I'm not a fan of the dipping sauce that comes with it, because sometimes they can be really sweet, I'll just flat out make my own. But I don't throw away that dipping sauce because it could be used as a base for a marinade for chicken or something, and just add some more soy sauce or something to it later. So there's a tip. If you buy pot stickers or whatever that comes with that dip sauce, don't toss it, even if you don't care for it. Use it for something else. Use it as a building block for flavor. Okay, now I'm going to put in some garlic. And this is a teaspoon or so of garlic, heaping, I would say. It smells right. I'm telling you, it smells right in here. As soon as that ginger and scallion and garlic get in there, woo-wee, smells amazing. Okay, so we're going to mix that together. Just 30 seconds is all it takes for those aromatics to get where they need to be. Then I'm going to add in my slaw mix. Now, like I told Aiden, all of the ingredients that we're using today came straight from my Walmart, so you don't have to run down to the ethnic food store to get this stuff. We are doing it right out of what we can easily get from Walmart. So I've got my coleslaw, and we're going to use about 3 cups of coleslaw. So you'll have more if you want to do this another day, or you can turn the rest of it into actual coleslaw and make some barbecue. So I'm going to go in with 3 cups of this, and you're only going to cook it 2 or 3 minutes because this wilts down incredibly fast. 1, I'm going to dump it. And this is actually going to be the bulk of your filling. And that's why egg rolls are so good, because they're just a little bit of meat. They're a light appetizer because they're mostly veggie. Okay, and this is going to go for about 2 or 3 minutes. And then we're going to season this with some sesame oil, some soy sauce. Okay. Now, I'm going to put in about 10 dashes of sesame oil. I do tell you to be careful with this and make sure you always keep your protective top on this, because this can get away from you. That's not something that I pop off my protective top for. And then I want to get a good 2 tablespoons of soy sauce in my mixture. That's a good couple of times around the pan. If you want to make this spicy, you can put in some red pepper flakes. We're actually going to talk about a really neat spice in the Chinese world in just a minute that we're using for our bang bang chicken. So if you're making these both on the same day and you want this egg roll spicy, all you have to do is use some of those pepper flakes in there, and this would be a little kicked up, if you will. All right. Okay, we're going to let that go, and I'm going to go ahead and get my egg rolls. Now, these are, like I said, these are the same as the pot sticker wrappers. They're just egg roll size. So if you want to make pot stickers too, you could buy these and make them into fourths, quarter them, and you could do both with these in the wrapper. So these are a very versatile ingredient if you want to keep them on hand. They also, I have frozen them. It's something that you don't want to do, like if the package is opened, but if you have not opened it and you have a second pack that you ended up not using, you can freeze these. Okay, I'm going to stir this up one more time. We're getting close. It smells so good. At this point, because my pork is cooked, I'm going to taste my seasonings and make sure I don't need to add any salt or anything like that. Keeping in mind that we are going to use a dipping sauce to extend the flavor here. Whoop, got a piece of cabbage. That little sign means absolutely check mark. Okay, my girls are all about getting check marks right now. So I'm like, anytime they need to know they did something good, I'm like, check, you did it. You did a great job. Hannah's putting checks on her own schoolwork now after she gets finished before I can even get my pen out to check her. She's like, oh, I'm done. Check. She likes a good gold star or a check mark. Okay. That is delicious. Our bang bang chicken is going to be basically fried chicken in a really cool sauce. So we're going to basically be doing fried chicken 101 after this. Okay. That is done. Now my egg roll wrappers are going to need an egg wash to stay together. So I just get a little egg, crack it, and we're going to just use this on our fingertips to roll around the edges to keep our egg rolls sealed. Okay. We need to get a pan. All right. Now we are set. Here our dipping sauces. Get him out of the way. Get you guys out of the way. We're going to set up a station for ourselves. Okay. Now, when you're doing wrappers like this, you want to go ahead and keep them in their package until you're going to use them. You don't want to get them out and have them sitting on the counter for a long time because they will dry out. The moisture is key. If you want to get them out and put a damp towel over them because you want to not keep reaching into the package, you can absolutely do that, but don't leave them out and exposed to the air because they will dry out before you get to the last one. Egg wash. I'm going to lay out 2 and fill 2 at a time because I trust that I'm fast enough to do 2. This is going to get about 1/3 of a cup of filling per egg roll. It says that my calculations are that this makes about 10 to 12. We'll see how we do on that, okay? So we'll move this off our heat, let it cool just a second. Come on, okay. Whip my egg up so it's nice and beaten. And we're frying both of these recipes today, so I'm going to use the same oil for both. But because the egg rolls are less messy and they don't have a flour coating or anything, they come out cleaner. I'm going to do the egg rolls first and the chicken second, okay? Now let's get us a hot pad. I'll have everything I need right here. Go. Here we go. I think I need a bigger table. I have to ask Santa Claus for that for Christmas. It's a long time till Christmas. I might have to ask for it for my birthday. I don't know if I want to wait that long. Okay, so we're going to get about 1/3 of a cup of our filling. And I want to show you what our filling looks like. Abby, do you notice our camera is better quality? We're working on the webcam today, sis. These replays are going to do much better. So I'm going to put about 1/4 of a cup of my filling. 1/3, I'm sorry, 1/3. And like with pot stickers too, you don't want to overfill these. So just put about 1/3 of a cup and they'll be perfect. Which my estimation is about 3 or 4 little tablespoons. I'm going to go ahead and fill both of these so I can get rolling at the same time. Have either of you ever attempted egg rolls at home? No? No, this will be a first. Abby, that surprises me just a little since you have your Vietnamese friend. Okay, so what we're going to do, just like you're doing a tortilla, you have to go in on the sides, roll and tuck, okay? So I'm going to get my egg wash around my edges. On my edges. And then we're going to get rolling. Whenever you're using egg wash like this, sometimes they say to add some water to it. I don't find that you have to. It's just fine. Some recipes actually call for a flour wash. That's something I've never done, but if you don't have an egg, apparently you can mix a little water and flour together and it works exactly the same. So FYI. So folding in my sides, folding it over, but while I fold it over, I'm going to push my filling back and then I'm tucking under just like this. And voila, we have an egg roll. Was that easy? If you can fold a taco, you can make an egg roll. Hallelujah. So over with the sides, over with the front, tuck it back, and done. And that seal is going to be sticking because of our egg wash. And also put it on your tray, seam side down, so they can really get that really good seal on them. The weight of the egg roll will help them seal the rest of the way. Here comes the rain again, and y'all might be able to hear it because I have the screen door open because of the frying that's about to go down. Okay, let's make a few more of these. If you've ever had an egg roll in a restaurant, they typically either come, I'm going to get a bigger spoon. I'm going to be here all day if I use that. Let's get me a bigger spoon. If you ever get an egg roll in a restaurant, obviously you can use soy sauce because it's always on the table. But a lot of times they come with a sweet and sour type sauce. It's not exactly my favorite. So I'm going to show you how to make a soy sauce based dipping sauce for this. That is going to have that ginger that we use and mirroring some of the flavors in our egg roll. Ginger and scallions and a little bit of rice wine vinegar, which is the vinegar that is typical in Chinese cooking. And then we're going to add in, like I said, some soy sauce. I love to have a little vinegar in there with mine just because I feel like it balances the salty of the soy. I mean, it is coming down out there. We had such a warm day this morning. Like I came inside after sitting out in the sun and Hannah goes, "Mommy, you're red." And I said, "Oh, hallelujah." I didn't even put on full makeup for you today because my face will actually look like it's supposed to, like I've been outside. I love to look like I've been outside. That's my go-to, my goal. And praise the Lord for where we live because we get that so much more than most people. I am not complaining one bit. But after 2 years and change in Alabama, I'm trained to be a warm weather woman. Okay, in with the sides, over, tucking back. All right, you want to be careful not to overfill because these are typically sensitive to be like broken apart and cracked on the top. If that happens, you can use a little bit of the egg wash and sort of glue it back together if it's a minor tear. If it's big though, you just need to bail out. And you can fry these if you want to fry the wrapper that's ruined, just cut it into pieces and it will fry up to be the toppers like you put on top of egg drop soup. Those crispy toppers. So if one doesn't make the cut, it can still be used. Okay. Make a few more of these and then we're going to get moving on the next thing. I have often seen recently a trend of unwrapped egg rolls being a thing, like an egg roll bowl. So you would take this basically and you would put it on top of some rice and then you top it with whatever dipping sauce. So if you have extra that you're not going to fit into your egg roll wrappers, you can make an egg roll bowl. And that sounds pretty good to me. Okay. Now the difference, you've probably heard about a spring roll too. The difference in egg rolls and spring rolls are both the cooking style and the wrapper. A spring roll is a clear rice paper type thing that you just soak in a little bit of water, and it's either not cooked, steamed, or very fast fried. But this is a thicker wrapper that's not as quite as temperamental to breaking, and it is a little bit of more of a crispy situation. Oh, I got two right there. Let's just use one. It's a little bit of a crispier, longer fry. So you get a little bit of a heartier situation with an egg roll than you would with a spring roll. Hold this guy up and do that one that's sitting there. We're going to move on to chicken. Now our chicken is going to go ahead, I'm going to cut it into 1-inch pieces, so it won't take long to fry at all. It's a very small, bite-sized situation. Have y'all either one ever had Bang Bang chicken? No? It's one of the things that is that sweet and spicy mix. And most of it comes from the condiment sauce that we're going to put on it. But there is a little bit of the heat going in our batter for our Bang Bang chicken. Okay. All right. So we made us some egg rolls to fry, and that amount is going to be perfect to fit in our pan one time. So I went ahead and made 7 for now. Get this sitting over here. Okay. Now let's move on to talking about this chicken. Bang Bang chicken is a Chinese light fried chicken. So what we're going to do, where you would normally fry your chicken in just flour, we're going to put our chicken in a mixture of flour and cornstarch. Traditionally, they use potato starch, but that's not quite as easy to find. Cornstarch does exactly the same thing. So I'm going to get my chicken out. And I've got 2 chicken breasts here. It calls for 1 pound of chicken for this. So I've got 2 good little chicken breasts right here. Let me get me a different knife. I've got one right here. Let's see. Do I have an extra knife? There's somebody in my kitchen, so I'm going to have to wash my knives. Okay. So we're going to cut it in strips just like this. And then we're going to cut it into cubes. Turn it to the side. And just think bite-sized pieces. You want to be a 1 biter in this situation. So about 1 inch. It doesn't have to be exact. When I was learning this recipe, I was really shocked by the ingredients that were in the sauce, because when you taste it, you would not think mayonnaise. But mayonnaise is in this sauce. Not a lot, but a little. You actually could use, if you wanted to get really authentic, there is something called Kewpie mayo, which is a Japanese mayonnaise, but I'm going to just use my regular mayonnaise today that I already had. I have a little bit of exciting news. We are in the process of moving our software. I was going to say this to the end of the class to announce that we got some downtime on China. We're in the process. We're going to change software. I've got some software called the Reach Company that I use for my website stuff, and I use for my emails and my courses. And about a month or so from now, we're going to be moving all of this over to that one website. So everything is in the same place. So you'll come still through that website and click a Zoom link just like you always have. But that's coming soon to Mama Whitten's Kitchen. And you know what? I'm so thankful for that, because it's going to save $100 a month. Hallelujah. That gives me more money to spend on food. Okay, so I'm going to go in my bowl with about 1/2 cup of milk. And then 1 egg. And because I used an egg for my egg wash, and I'm not even going to crack another egg. I'm going to be resourceful. There's my 1 egg going right there. This is what you're going to use for your dredge. So I'm going to go ahead and get my chicken down in here. Clean up my board a little bit. Gonna wash my hands because I'm about to mess up the rest with my flour. A good soak since I touched chicken. All right. And I'm gonna get some oil started so we can get frying on our egg rolls while we're doing our chicken. So we're gonna just put about 1.5 to 2 inches deep of oil in our pan. And we're gonna get it heated up. And the temperature that we're gonna fry these at is about 350 degrees. So that's a fairly medium frying temperature. I'm using some canola oil. You can use vegetable oil, whatever you have, just not olive oil. And we've learned before, but I'll remind you again, we test our oil by putting the back of a wooden spoon into the oil to see if it bubbles. And if it bubbles, you know that it's ready. Now I'm going to mix up my batter. Now this is the ingredient that I want to talk to you about that is a different little sort of surprise thing. You're going to hear me say something that sounds like I'm speaking Chinese, and I'm going to read it just so I make sure I get it right. Typically, there is a spice called Tsuchimi Togarashi, okay? For short, I've heard chefs just call it Togarashi. I've heard that term a lot. This is something very similar. If you wanted to go get that out of the Asian food aisle, you can. But this is just Thai style chili flakes. And that's what I'm putting into my batter instead of going to get a crazy spice that I can't even pronounce from the ethnic food market. Okay. So we're in our batter right here. I am going to go ahead and salt this just a little bit, layering our flavors. Get a good teaspoon or so of salt in our mix. About a teaspoon or so of black pepper, and I'm going to just stir this around. The other day I was teaching a recorded class, and I was making broccoli, and I went to salt my broccoli, and I opened the wrong side of the or pepper my broccoli, and I opened the wrong side. You know, it has two different sides, one with just a little bit of the sprinkle spout, and there's the pour spout side where you're like filling up your pepper shaker. Well, I was in the middle of teaching and I was going and I opened the wrong side, and before I could do it, I dumped like half a cup of pepper into a big pan of broccoli. And I had to stop recording and take all of my broccoli out of the pan, wash it off, clean the whole pan out, and I wasted about a good little bit of pepper. But I thought to myself, if that had been live, what would I have done? I would have had to just abandon ship because black pepper gets spicy. And now I'm super like careful at this moment because I'm thinking to myself, whatever you do, don't open the wrong side of the pepper. So I'm going to get a bowl here. If I can reach one big enough. I want to clear something. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to put in some flour, okay? I'm going to get in about half a cup of flour. You don't want to use a ton because you probably won't use all of this. You'll end up having to throw it away. But if you need to add more flour to your pan later or to your bowl later, you can. But about a half a cup of flour and 1/4 of a cup of cornstarch or potato starch, whichever one you end up getting. And to this, and it's a tiny amount, so that's why I was like, I'm not going to go buy that sashimi togarashi. It's only 1/4 of a teaspoon going in here. So, like I said, not a huge amount. Get this in here carefully in my hand, not directly in there because I am pouring. Ooh, just like that. If you want it spicier, go spicier. Absolutely. Okay, putting that up. I'm going to have to text Richard. I just realized I left my mayonnaise up downstairs or upstairs. While we're doing this, I'm going to text him real quick. Please bring me mayo. Please bring me mayo. Good thing he's home today. Okay. We won't need it for a while, but I just realized it's upstairs. Now, I've got this mixed. I'm going to mix this up. I'm going to start my heat on my oil, like I said, to medium, so it's ready. When you're doing this, sometimes you will see people take all of their chicken and put it all of their flour, and then it gets to be a goopy mess. I like to do this in 2 batches. This is only a pound of chicken, but I like to put half of my chicken into the batter at a time so it doesn't become a wet, gloopy mess, and you're actually getting each piece coated very nicely. And just spread it out in your flour. You could also do this in a Ziploc bag if you wanted to. You could put your chicken and your flour in a Ziploc bag and use half at a time. The mail is here. And just like the magic of TV, my assistant. Thank you, honey. Okay, so that's in there, about half. If I didn't have a very big pan, I would also use half of this chicken to fry at a time. I would not fry it all at the same time. But I think my pan's big enough. We're going to at least get close. All right, toss this around. You could always, if you like a really thick, crunchy batter on the outside, you could always return this to the egg and bring it back to the flour again and give yourself an extra thick coating on the outside. But I like this light and airy batter in my fried chicken. You could absolutely use chicken thighs if you wanted to. I've obviously preached chicken thighs a good little bit. Okay, those are ready. Gonna get a plate and get them out on it waiting. I tell you what, when I make stuff like this, it just reminds me how easy it is to not just go order that chicken from the local Chinese place. And every time now, because I've been cooking so much more than I used to, every time now I say to Richard, I feel like Chinese. He's like, well, we're not going to buy it. You're going to make it. I don't think we've eaten Chinese from the Chinese restaurant since we moved to Alabama. Maybe once at the very beginning, but I would have to really think hard about that. Okay. My girls are really wanting to do a hibachi. And then we also have a place here called Happy Sushi that has a sushi train where you sit at your table and your food comes out on like this subway train type thing. We did it for Valentine's Day, the first year we lived here. And we finally felt like they are old enough to enjoy it. So their wishes are to go to a hibachi where they cook in front of you and then to go see the sushi train. So we're going to have to do that for this spring. There's just something about, there's such a huge difference between 6 and 4 and how old they were when we moved here, 4 and 2. It's like every 6 months, life gets a little bit easier. Most of the time, nobody is doing something so dangerous they could hurt themselves seriously. But then there are the occasions that I'm like, how did we even get here? Like Lily Hannah trying to carry Lily while she's riding her hoverboard. Like piggyback style. And yeah, I walked into that. Lily was loading onto Hannah's back, standing on our couch, and Hannah was on her hoverboard. And she's like, I'm just going to ride her around for a minute. And I was like, no, ma'am. The Lord told me to walk to the living room at the perfect time. And they never got to try it. They've tried a few similar things since then, too. And I'm like, what are we thinking? Lily's thing right now is every time I turn around, she's eating something and she's trying to lay down doing it. And I'm like, Lord, have mercy. We can't be laying flat trying to eat some popcorn. That does not go well. Okay, I've almost got all my chicken battered. And this is the basic way that you batter fried chicken anyway. So if you wanted to use this Southern style, you could absolutely use this same method with a whole piece of chicken or chicken tenders. Go Southern style with it and end up dipping it in something like honey mustard or making a gravy or whatever. So this basic part is fried chicken 101. And just make sure you do salt your layers. You want salt in your egg wash and season your flour as well. Okay. Wash up one more time, and I think we're about ready to test that oil. Get me a wood handle here. It looks like it's rippling, and that's how you know it's time to test it. It looks like ripples on the water in the bottom of the pan. So I'm going to stick my, and it's bubbling away. So we're going to get some egg rolls in here. Now, like I said, if you're doing this at home, I recommend that you, like both of these at the same time, I recommend that you use your fryer for your egg rolls first. And then after that, do your chicken, because chicken does have flour on the outside and it can be a little messier with a little bit of debris in the bottom of the pan, if you will. The egg rolls, they don't have debris, so we're going to do them first. And I give a couple of seconds between each egg roll because I want the temperature to have time to come right back up to the 350 mark. And as long as they're bubbling when you get them in, that is a happy temperature. Now with our chicken, we're going to twice fry. We're going to fry it real quick one time, build a crust, and then we're going to do a second quick fry on it the second time. All in all, you're going to do about 2 minutes the first time and about 90 seconds the second time. And what that does is it just gives you a perfect crispy crust. It's like twice frying your French fries. It's the perfect way to get it perfect every time. So we're bubbling away right here. And these are only going to take about 2 minutes total, about a minute per side. But what you're looking for is that golden brown, obvious outside that we all know and love. So everything is bubbling away. I'm going to go ahead and make my dipping sauce. We have that extra teaspoon of ginger and a tablespoon of scallions. I'm going to add in about 5 dashes of sesame oil, a tablespoon of rice vinegar. And if you've never smelled rice vinegar, it's a fairly light, clean smelling vinegar. That's the only way I know how to say it. If you've ever smelled apple cider vinegar, it's pungent and strong, and it almost smells like it would knock you back when you really get a big whiff of it. Like my daughter, Hannah, when she smelled it for the first time, she walked up and she goes, and then she was like, oh, like, yeah, don't sniff that hard. This is not that way. This is a clean, light, crisp vinegar. So a tablespoon of this. If you didn't have this, would always say use a red wine vinegar, or you can even use a squeeze of lemon or lime juice. The goal is just acid. And then for this, I'm going to use about 1/4 cup of soy sauce. There we go, 1/4 cup. Now, if you want to, you could add sriracha to this, or you could add a squeeze of honey if you like a little sweet with your salty. You absolutely could, but this is the one I like. Basic ingredients: ginger, scallion, rice vinegar, soy sauce, and that's absolutely perfect for me. Okay, just give that a little stir. Use back my fork so I'm resourceful. And then it's going to be about time in about 30 seconds to check these egg rolls on the first side. Yep, they're ready to flip. See, this is what we're looking for. Can y'all see that color? I'll bring it over there so you can see. That's what you want to go for. Okay, first side. I love an egg roll. And it's so funny, like I say all the time, find your Chex Mix partner in life. Find your person who likes the Chex Mix pieces that you don't. I'm a Chex person. Like, I like to eat the Chex out, but I don't care for those little breadsticks. Find the people that are your Chex Mix people in life. Also find your egg roll friend. If you're an egg roll person, find the friend that doesn't want the free egg roll that comes with every Chinese meal and go out to eat with them. That's the way it works. So know who your buddies are in life that you need to go eat with. I have a couple of kiddos in my house who are not egg roll people. And like every time I know good and well, I'm going to get Noah's egg roll when he gets Chinese food, if we get Chinese food. And I'll usually get Micah's depending on how hungry he is. Hannah's a child after my own heart, though. She's eating everything from that Asian restaurant and loving every minute of it. Even though I'm making Asian right now, she and I just had wonton soup for lunch. It's just in our veins. Okay, second side is going. This is all going to come together really fast when we get to the finish line. I'm going to wipe off my tray because I do want it to come, I want to come out and get back on this tray so I'm not wasting dishes. We're ready for it next time. Looks super yummy. These will be perfectly ready to taste about the time we're halfway through frying our chicken by my deduction, so that I am not tasting a hot egg roll right out of the fryer at any time fast. Okay. These look amazing. All right. I'm going to give them about 30 more seconds and we'll be ready to go. Do, 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 do. What show is that from? Jeopardy. Okay, we're ready. All right. We introduced our younger children to Price is Right recently. And you should have seen their faces. They thought it was the best thing that they've ever seen. That big old wheel that you spin and all that. They absolutely love their introduction into Price is Right. Make sure you hold up your egg roll and drain off a little of that oil because they are prone to like letting a little bit inside. I have seen people use toothpicks to keep them together, but if you really commit to your egg wash well, you don't need to do that. These aren't falling apart at all. Okay, egg rolls out. I drip the drip of oil so to wipe that up. And I'm going to get my chicken in. We'll see if it all fits, but we may have to go in batches, and that's perfectly fine. Still sizzling. You want to make sure your oil is still sizzling. And like I said, we're going to twice fry these. We're going to put them in for a short couple of minutes, pull them out, and then dump them back in. I do the same thing when I'm making wings. Even if I don't bread them and they're just going straight in the fryer to get that crispy skin, I do the same thing on my French fries too. Just doing that quick second dip makes the crispiest coating. And always, always, the minute that you pull chicken or vegetables or whatever out of the fryer, you're going to want to salt it as soon as it comes out. So just keep that in mind. Okay, I think that's about half, and everybody is in there good. Making sure everybody is in there and not touching each other. I think I got room for a few more. Real quick. All right, that's good. Now let's make some dipping sauce. I'm gonna go ahead and get myself a plate so when my chicken comes out, I'll be prepared. Get this right here. And I got for Christmas these special Asian plates, like to put pot stickers or whatever on. So I figured I could put my egg rolls on them in there. My boys love that I love food. And so when they find something nifty in the kitchen, I got that from Micah last year. All right, now let's make dipping sauce. This dipping sauce is going to be sweet and spicy and savory. It's a little riff on the OG version, which doesn't have any savory in it, but for me, it needed a little bit more in the salt department. So that's, I'm going to riff on the go-to just a little bit. Now, so I'm going to start with about 1/4 of a cup of mayonnaise. Like I said, not too much mayonnaise, and you could use the Kewpie mayo, which comes in a squeeze bottle. And this is gochujang. I'm saying a lot of things today that sound like a funny different language, but gochujang is a thick paste of kind of like the sriracha lane, but much thicker and much more depth of flavor. Not incredibly spicy, but very, very full of flavor. Tablespoon of gochujang. And then I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of sweet chili paste. And this is where your sweet comes in. And that's why I want to balance it out with some salty in the end, okay? For me, it's all about the balance. You can't have all sweet and no savory. Finally. And there is a little bit of heat to this as well. Not a lot, but a little. And these condiments are not expensive condiments. So they're not a big money commitment. 2 tablespoons of this. And because I can, I like to add in a teaspoon of soy sauce. And that's my little tweak on the situation. I can get soy sauce over because my fingers are sticky. Okay, tablespoon of soy sauce. Some recipes call for honey here, but I find that sweet chili sauce is sweet enough on its own that you don't need the addition of honey as well. It's a balance. I almost need my tiny whisk for this, but we're getting there. My girls love my tiny whisk so much, I frequently find it in their play kitchen. It looks like it should belong to them. Okay, where's my whisk? See that color? That nice pinky orange? That's what you're going for. You're going to taste it to make sure it has enough salt. It's delicious. Okay, now we're going to pull our chicken for the first time. And because it will have already been fried once, we'll be able to put all of our chicken in together the second time. But now I'm going to get my second batch of chicken going for its first one. And then we're going to put everybody in at the same time. You will obviously notice the color and the light batter that's different from a dark fried chicken. That is the cornstarch that we used in here. All right, you guys just hang out for just a minute. We're in the home stretch for the last few pieces of chicken. Without that sauce on it, it smells like I'm in my Papa's kitchen. This could just be a Southern woman's fried chicken right now. It's up to you how you want to do this. A lot of recipes say to go ahead and toss all of your sauce with all of your chicken at the end. For me, I am a dipper. I like to dip in my sauce, but we absolutely can do either one. It's totally your preference. Usually this is served alongside just a little plate of steamed rice, and the sauce gets in the rice and kind of helps the seasoning along if you want to do it that way. While we're waiting on that batch, I'm going to plate up some egg rolls and some sauce. So I've got my dipping sauce. Both of my dipping sauces. Still need that guy. And I also like to garnish. You know me. If I've got my garnish available, I'm going to use it. So in a minute, I'm going to get some green onions chopped for that. All right. Let's get a few egg rolls on our plate. Get my knife right now. I found my other knife that somebody used in my kitchen. I'm going to get just the green tops because we're going to top the egg rolls and the chicken once it gets off with a little bit of scallion. You could also shake over some toasted sesame seeds. That would be super traditional too. Okay. All right, guys. Woo! They're a little hot to touch. Oh, there we go. Okay, so here is our egg roll. Woo! Do a little garnish over the top. Happy, happy, happy. One dish down. that over here, and there's the dipping sauce. Second dish coming right up. When they come out of the fryer the second time, I'm going to immediately hit them with some salt. You never want to miss the opportunity to salt something the second it comes out of the fryer, because while it is hot, it's going to accept the seasoning and make it stick to your chicken. If you've ever watched cooking shows and you've noticed them do this high salt sprinkle at the end right before the time's up, it's because that's exactly what you need to do to land the ultimate flavor. Something about that last second sprinkling counts. Okay, I'm going to taste this real quick. I hope it's not too hot. Let me try to see if there's one that I pulled out first. Play it in there. It feels like it's going to be hot. The crunch. That's better than a restaurant egg roll to me. And you know why? The wrapper is perfectly crispy. A lot of times I've been to a Chinese restaurant and they've been sitting there for a minute and the wrapper has gotten a little bit soggy. That is not happening here. All right. Pull this out. And let everybody go for one more flash fry. We'll be done. I don't know what time it actually is, but this clock right here says 1:56, and that's what I'm going by. I've got 4 minutes. The other clock says 1:59, or it says, yeah, 1:59, and I'm not even paying it any attention. All right. Now, back in, we're going to let it cool for just a second. Back in for another little minute, and that's going to make all the difference in the world, but very carefully so. I'm just going to do a few at a time. If you're using a deep fryer, this is where your fry basket comes in really handy, because you just lift that fry basket up, rest them for a second, and then dump them in again for a second. All right. One more minute, and I'm going to get another bite of the egg roll. I could make 40 of those and just make my diet for the weekend egg rolls. I'm such a sucker for the Asian stuff. Okay. Move these around just a little bit. Now what we're really going for is crispiness and color. The first fry was all about doing the cook on the chicken. But this is about getting the crispness and the color. Give it just a second. I am gonna get a fork to that dipping sauce because it didn't mix up quite as good as I liked it to. And if you like a little twang, and I think I'm going to, I haven't done it before, I'm going to put a splash of rice vinegar in it. It was missing a little something. It was salty enough. I'm going to put a teaspoon, just because I know good and well it's going to make it better. Teaspoon of rice vinegar, because I got it right here. And that will help it hit me right there where I want it to. So the dipping sauce is mayo, 1/4 of a cup, 2 tablespoons of sweet chili, 1 tablespoon of gochujang, and a teaspoon of rice vinegar. That's it. See, that is proof that once you start cooking and tasting and using ingredients, you'll know what something needs. Trust your instincts. All right, let's turn our oil off and get our chicken out. I guarantee you, I know some kids that are going to be frying chicken this weekend and maybe making an egg roll. Aiden, for you, I am refilming last week's class we had a little smoke alarm incident, and there was just no way to edit it out properly. So I'm gonna redo the steak lesson this week, and it will be in the classroom before you know it. I just told Richard, I said, I could try to edit this, or we could just make it again and you could eat steak one night. And he said, I think I want you to just make it again. And by the time he got home, he didn't get much of that steak. And then Micah and Levi just totally annihilated it. Okay, now look at this color. Scallions on the top. And there is your fried chicken with bang bang sauce. If you want to, you can do any kind of sauce with this fried chicken. And no, I am not going to taste that right now. I tasted the sauce, but I'm not setting my mouth on fire for that. You can toss this in the sauce if you want to. If you did that, I would say just get a big bowl, put all of your chicken in, and you do the flip like this, like I showed you before. Or you can toss it with a really big spoon. That's if you like really saucy chicken. As a general thing in life, I like to dip and control my amount of sauce for the most part. So that's why I like to serve mine on the side. If you want to use this and do something more like a sesame chicken or a teriyaki chicken, that's very yummy to do. And you could also toss that. So this is just a base chicken recipe that you can turn into anything. Okay. I am going to do what I said and be a good example. And I'm going to salt it the second it comes out of the fryer because that's not going to taste like nothing if I don't. And that's today's lesson. Does anybody have any questions?
Yes. How much pork did you use for the egg rolls?
It was 3/4 of a pound of pork to 3 cups of slaw mix. Okay. 3/4 a pound of pork to 3 cups of slaw mix.
Okay.
All right. You got anything, Aiden? You just want to come eat? Okay, well, I'll have the replay up before y'all know it. I love you guys, and I can't wait to see you next week. Let me know if you have any questions and send me a picture if you make it.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Abby.